Hey there, good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness. Good morning. So, I feel like this morning we're going to talk about construction, or maybe a construction site, or I don't know. My dad was in construction when I was growing up. Well, he built a lot of the places, a lot of the hotels, the early hotels and stuff in Reno and Tahoe. He was contractor over there. Well, prior to me being born, he was a contractor over there, and then I came along and he gave up being a contractor and just went into some basic construction and did a lot of small jobs and private jobs around Northern California. But yeah, so I don't know why that's coming up right there, but I guess because I titled this that you can't fix your energy with hammers, nails, and saws. So no, is this going to be? Well, I don't know. I don't know where we're quite going with this. I mean, it's very accurate that you can't fix your energy with hammer, nails, and saws. But what I'm meaning by that is that, it's kind of like you're losing all the wrong tools to fix your energy when you're focused in on the physical world. And what we tend to do is we tend to focus in on the physical 1, 2, 3 to get things fixed because we want to fix it and we want it to get fixed relatively quickly. So we go, okay, well, if I do more of this, if I start doing this, and I give up this, then everything will be right in my world. Everything will be right in my world. That is all just going to be fine. And all I have to do is these physical actions to get it so. And the truth of the matter is that you can be doing all the physical actions on the planet, and you can be doing all the right physical actions on the planet because, right, practice is just practice, and unless you're having perfect practice, and we keep thinking of it like that. Perfect practice means to perfectly practice everything. So that means to really get those physical actions lined up. Good morning, Addison. Good morning, Steve. But when we just focus in on the physical stuff and we ignore our internal stuff, or we don't quite tap into all the internal stuff that we need to. Maybe we're trying to avoid something that, it's just like, oh, I'll do all these things, but that right there, no, that's a little bit too much for me to push through. That's a little bit too much for me to lean into right now. And it is really, really interesting that typically for anything that we're wanting to create, our energy will get zapped by that one seemingly little spot that we just don't really want to deal with. So we don't want to acknowledge that it's there, and that's the spot that is going to be our Achilles heel, okay? That's the spot that is going to just say, fuck you, you don't get to have everything that you want in this life until you deal with little old me over here. Or the dog barking at the person taking their trash out. Okay. So yeah. So I'm going to get really, really, really personal here. Not too personal. Yeah, I'll get pretty personal. So last night I did a coaching call with a coach, and I admit I was really, really nervous to do this coaching call because it was the first one, and also because I had this person up on a pedestal, of course, and it's always tough to talk to somebody who you have on a pedestal because you're like, whoo, right? And the reason why she's on a pedestal is because I knew that she would find my shit really quick and hand it to me, which is exactly why I hired her, right? To hand me my shit. So here I am, and right prior to that, I was kicking my butt on trying to do all the 1, 2, 3s. I had my hammer, I had my nails, I had my saw, I had all my stuff, nice and tidy and put together, and I was stressed out because there were tools that I just was not knowing how to use in the physical world to get certain actions taken to, of course, fix all my problems. And I should know better. I really should. But us coaches, we do know better. But at the same time, we're just human, and we need somebody to call our shit on us for us, so that we can actually move forward quickly and keep helping others. And that's exactly what my hope was in this call. And as long as I stay focused on doing the work and using the tools that I already have, then I'm pretty sure that I will be able to make it through this. But here's the result, and I'm going to share this with you because even though this is like one of those, I'm going to get into too deep details, like what I journaled, or what necessarily in the rounds, like all the, I'm not going to share with you everything that's on the construction site, okay? Like all my piles of dirt and all my junk that needs to be dumped and stuff. I'm going to share with you briefly this overview. So, she has me journal on how I can, quite literally, it wasn't even a question. She's just like, just write it down a couple times and see what comes up. And so my whole thing is that I'm doing all this different stuff, but I'm not quite getting the results that I want. And I know that I'm doing a nice amount of stuff that I'm doing good, but at the same time, I'm not getting the results. So I'm like, okay, so since I'm not getting the results, what the fuck is going on, right? So here I am, all wrapped up in the doing of the actions, and my hammer and my saw and my nails and my screwdriver, and I'm pulling out the extension cords to make sure that I can get in there a little bit further, and I can work on this and I can work on that and all this good stuff. And then she says, journal on basically how you can show up more, how you can just let your beautiful radiance shine out more. And then she paused for a moment. She's like, wait. Let me just do like a little energy reading. And then she hit me with that I had this, and here you go. Here's my intimacy of the week, of the month, maybe even of this year. She said that I had this kind of sadness over me. And it was kind of like I was walking around with my shoulders slumped and a whole bunch of weight on me, and that I was just kind of retreating internally. And that's all she basically said. That was the gist of that. Except I was quickly wanting to get off of the phone and wanting to go curl up in a corner and cry and just throw the towel in and say, fuck this, I'm not good enough, I can't push through this, I don't know where to start, I'm not blah, 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 all that shit. And I was like, you know what, that's it, nobody would even, it doesn't matter. So I was just ready to run. So I was ready to run, and I sat there and I listened, and she got quiet and she paused, and that was, the gist of it. And she gave me the journal prompt. She's like, okay, I want you to go journal on this, and then I want you to, touch base with me, and we're gonna go in there and share with me what comes up around this. And she's like, just if you can, as soon as we get off the phone, just journal for like the next 20 minutes or so. Try to get 2-3 journal pages out. 20 minutes, 2-3 journal pages. So I sat down, and 8-9 pages later, I don't know if I necessarily came up with enough stuff there, but I definitely did throw in a pile of crap and realization and feeling of like that noticing of where the physical is trying to alert me to the emotional and thus the energetic. things that need to get healed, not necessarily fixed, but healed and transformed. And that's what I want to focus in on with you guys. The reason for me sharing that tale is not to tell you that I have this sadness over me. I mean, I do. Anybody who's followed my blog, anybody who's kind of like tapped in and followed different things definitely knows that over the course of the last 2 years for sure, I have had a lot of emotional things on multiple levels kind of come down and hit. And the interesting thing though was that I was going to, okay, so that's what I have to like. And she's like, so, like, we'll get this energy shifted over the weekend and you'll come in Monday and you'll be like charging forward. And instantaneously, I'm like, holy fuck, she thinks that I can shift my energy down a massive scale and heal all this heart pain in 3 days. In 3 fucking days. I'm like 72 hours to heal heartbreak. Okay, well, if I manage to do this, I am so writing a book on this. Like, you're gonna see something coming out. 72 hours to heal heartbreak. I mean, like, heartbreak healed in 72 hours. There you go. That would be a better title there. So I was like, okay, 72 hours to heal heartbreak. Motherfucker, how am I gonna do this? Excuse my language at 6 a.m. here. But so I'm writing in my journal and I'm going to share a little bit more with you. And, like I'm sitting here and I'm just bawling my eyes out and I'm crying and my chest is constricting and I was getting sweaty and I literally could have just gone for a jog in that moment, even though it was at that point like 11:30, 11:45 at night. And I'm like, dang it. And I'm like, I know that she's, I know that she's right, but I know because all the things that I'm doing is that I'm trying to heal this heart issue, this emotional based issue, which is affecting my energy. And I'm doing physical things to try to heal it. To the point that I even had a massage therapist yesterday dig into my chest and into my back, trying to access the muscles to heal it at a muscular level so that I could open up my chest a little bit more, because I'm like, I feel like I'm going like this, I feel like this, and I feel like something has a hold of me right here, and it's just kind of like trying to pull my heart out through my back. And I feel the weight on my shoulders, and I feel this, and I feel that, and like, so I'm trying to tackle it from that muscular level, actually. And I'm like, well, my muscles are tight, and this is going on, that's going on. So I somehow manifested an extra, like, my massage therapist gave me an extra half an hour free, even massage work yesterday, just trying to access, tap in, and deal with this stuff. And that's all groovy and awesome and very much needed, and it has to clear out physically as well. But here's the reality, and here's what if any of this is kind of like, if you're going, whoo, I've got some heart tugs, I've had heartbreak, I've just kind of tossed that heartbreak, that pain over there, and I haven't wanted to deal with it, and I don't need to deal with it. My life is fine. You know what? Everything's going on perfectly fine. If you're in that fine, but you feel like there is a piece of you that is missing, like there's a piece of you that was stolen, taken, maybe you gave it away. There's this piece that is just like, it doesn't even have to be a humongous one, but maybe it just feels like somebody's like just kind of took a little spoon and like dug in there and took it out, and that's that. Maybe you just feel disconnected, or there is this lull of like, for sake of better words, depression that is just kind of over you like a dark cloud. Maybe you're just feeling like when you're connecting with people, you're not 100% there. Maybe there is kind of like you're just holding up this picture of yourself and hoping that people will just keep buying into that picture of you while you figure your stuff out, and like, okay, but there's this gaping emptiness behind the picture because there's no depth to you. If that feels like if you notice that you're just kind of, you're showing up physically for your children, you're showing up physically for your relationships in different areas, you're showing up physically for your work, you're showing up physically for your maybe your health and nutrition, you're showing up physically, but you're constantly kind of just retracting a little bit inside because there is that pull, that piece that just feels like you don't know where it went. You're almost at a loss of memory of what that piece is even like because you don't know what it feels like anymore because you haven't had it, because somewhere it went missing. So literally, that's where I ended up last night, was I realized that I am actually legitimately missing a piece of myself. And that really fucking pisses me off because I don't like missing pieces of myself. I feel like I am whole, that I should be whole right here, and that this right here, like I've got to recover every aspect of self. And in the work, I'm like, well, man, can I just like Google this shit as to how do you retrieve a piece of your heart, your soul that went missing? Funny enough, I did turn around right after that and Google just that, just because I was like, let me see what kind of spiritual stuff is out there. Like, what kind of energetic work, because I had written down all this, oh, well, here's some self-love exercises that I can give myself. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to tap in. And I treated myself like I would treat a client on certain physical things that aren't getting done. So I tapped in. I was like, all right, here's some practices and here's the things that I need to do and blah, blah, blah. So I started writing that stuff down. But every one of the things that I was writing down, from everywhere from, like doing little consciousness exercises to doing actual like physical care and love exercises, from self-pleasure, allow myself to just really tap in and get into some self-pleasure, maybe say yes more over here, and break away from trying to do the 1, 2, 3s and keeping myself more in like work and family mode and just like relaxing a little bit. And I was looking at different comments that I've gotten from people, so I really was just like tapping into different areas because I've got to figure this out, right? So I have this nice list of all these physical real world things that I can start to implement into my life to help me to connect more. And those are fantastic things, and all things that should be done and that we all need to do anyway, to tap in more to self. That still left me with this gaping hole inside and my soul going, yeah, but that's still not going to fix the problem. That's still not going to fix the problem. And the problem is that you're missing this little piece of yourself. So you've got to go and you've got to retrieve it. You've got to figure out how to energetically retrieve this piece of your soul. And you've got to be given a deadline. Now I know that there's not a deadline, but there is a deadline, because the longer it lingers, the longer I'm losing life, the longer I'm using the ability to fully receive and access and tap into all that radiant me that I can fully be. So I'm like, wow, okay, there is a time frame, because I'm not going to sit around and just try to figure out, like just go, okay, I'm just done. No, not just done. So what it came down to is that this is an emotional issue. An emotional issue that is lingering energetically there, and how to tap in and heal the emotion. So if any of this is making any sense to you, if it's anywhere like touching you and making you go, okay, I feel lost. I feel lost. I feel like there's a piece of me that I just don't know how to get to show up. I just don't know how. My question is, have you allowed yourself to grieve properly? Have you given yourself that space to just unravel and feel and experience that pain? Have you given yourself permission to just let it out, let it go, and not give a flying fuck what anybody else thinks? Have you given yourself permission to just break down so that you can break through? I haven't given myself permission to fully go there. I haven't. I journaled on exactly why I haven't done this and all the fear that came up around the breakdown, the letting go, the unraveling, and that feeling that it would kill me if I allowed myself to just do that. Funny, huh? The thing that needs to happen, the thing that will provide the most life, the thing that will provide the most space for you to really just step into you and experience you and shine bright, is also the thing that on that front side makes you feel like you're going to die. It's truly like jumping out of an airplane. It is truly like, I mean, this is on my bucket list to do before July, before my 18-year-old son heads off to Maui here, but him and I are going skydiving. And, you know, it sounded like a great idea last year when I came up with it, and I know that he really wants to do it, and I'm like, for your 18th, you know, like, and blah, 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 we're going to do this, and it's something that I really want to do, but then I'm as closer I get to it, I start to go, whew, what the fuck are you thinking about, girl? Like, you're actually going to go and take your kid up on an airplane, and you're going to stand there, and you're going to jump out of the airplane, and you're just going to plummet to your death? Like, this is what you're going to do? And I was like, oh my goodness. But that's the exact same feeling of standing on the edge of the airplane, even though I know that there's a parachute on my back, even though I'm tandem jumping and I have an instructor right there who hopefully has reason to live, is right there. I still am feeling this immense feeling of that this is the end. This is the end. This could kill me. And here's the thing. It could potentially like cause me to die in one way. Taking that leap is taking a leap. It is a transition. It is a death. It is a death of ourselves, and that grieving process is us dying in one way. But if we don't actually die in that way, we don't get to transform and really truly feel into that new self and step into all of our power. So we're holding ourselves back so much further back into not being able to receive, not being able to really get into our flow by not having that grieving process. And we live in this world where we're told that we should just get through things. It should just be done. Like, just move on, let it go. Get through it. Come on, you've had this time frame. This happened then. And you know, I see some of your stories coming up. Thank you, by the way, Ray and April. And that grieving process when we have people that, you know, leave our lives in multiple ways. That death of the relationship, because that's what we're ultimately grieving. We're grieving the death of a relationship. We're grieving the death of what that interaction, that exchange. And what it is that there is this piece of us, right? And we've given it away, we've shared it, it was taken in different ways. But if we don't grieve, then we don't allow the healing to actually happen. So we're just running around with this gaping hole. And guess what happens to gaping holes when we get cut? If we never let it scab up, if we never took the time to just care for it, to love on it a little bit, to let it heal, then infection sets in. It just keeps hurting and burning, and infection starts setting in, and then it starts getting bigger, and then all of a sudden, if we have like a cut on our arm or something, all of a sudden more of the arm is going to start hurting, more of the area of us is going to start hurting, because it will start to touch on other areas of our life. When we deal with our heart, which is what we're talking about here, when we deal with our heart, that is so much more than a little cut on the arm or the leg, or it's even more than an actual like gunshot wound. When you have this space in your heart that has been wounded like that, it does permeate out. And it permeates out by us constricting ourselves and shutting down and allowing ourselves to not heal. Because what are we the most scared of? We're scared that if we allow that space to heal, if we move through it, then we're going to lose. Like, what's going to happen on the other side of that? There's this feeling of loss. There's this feeling of like, just, oh my God, what then? There's so much fear wrapped up in us actually grieving and letting go. But I'm reminded of Will Smith's story of when he went skydiving, and he talks about, the skydiving and how he's standing there and all this different stuff, and he was freaking out. And of course the instructor goes, all right, we're going to jump on a count of 3, 1, 2, and they'd go, right? Because if the instructor had waited for 3, you would grab a hold of the doors and you wouldn't be able to go out, and that could really hurt you. That could cause a lot more problems, and you got to take that leap. So taking that leap into grieving, taking that leap into letting yourself go is exactly that right there. And what we've done in this process of not allowing ourselves to grieve is that we're standing there 30,000 feet up in the air, and we're holding onto the door of the airplane, and we're staring out at the clouds, and the wind is coming through and it's hitting us, and we're remaining in this constant state of terror, of shock, of pain. And after a little bit, we've kind of become calloused to it because we're like, nope, I got this, and we're just holding on. But guess what? The muscles start to get tired, and we start to retreat emotionally to everything that's going on out there. And if we just allow that instructor to just which is actually our soul in this case, to just leap, and we leap, then we experience one of the most blissful states ever, because right on the other side of our greatest fear is our greatest joy, our greatest bliss. And I know that that's true because I've experienced that so many times. So I know that it is very, very accurate, whether you are dealing with actual physical stuff or you are dealing with emotional stuff. And all of that leads back to energetic stuff. So if you're feeling like your life isn't quite lining up for you, if you're feeling like you're just not quite 100% you're retreating, you're contracting, you're just hiding out, you don't quite know, you're doing all the physical 1, 2, 3s, and things just still aren't quite where you want them to be, come back to your heart. Notice that there's a piece missing, probably. Tap into that, journal on that. Allow yourself to really break in and just feel who you are. Access that. What would it be like to really truly let your radiant self out? Feel that, okay? So I give everybody my homework. Go journal on what it would be like to be your radiant self, why you're not fully showing up as that self, and just go from there and see what comes up. I see. I'm going to read real quick before I close out here, everybody. I'm going to read real quick. All right, so Ray, the father died in November, and I haven't been able to grieve it yet. It's a long story. I feel for you, Ray. I have many times, April says, I have many times broken down. It hurts. It is like dying inside. Then I get strong, but sometimes angry and guilty. Then it circles and cycles again. Yes, healing at different levels, grieving at different levels. And the whole thing there that I can share with you that I've noticed, because much like you, I've gone through, I've processed in so many different ways the heartache and the pain and that feeling of that loss or losses and different shit, right? The trauma. And the thing that I am really seeing is that, number one, it's a consistent healing process, and it does come up, and grieving takes the time that grieving takes. It does. But what I really truly is happening there is that we're never fully accessing and going in and getting back that piece of soul. you could say. So think of it as though like that piece of soul has been given away or stolen, and that cycle continues, and we end up in this ego battle within ourselves, because that's what the guilt is. And the anger is that that's the ego, and we're focusing in on what we don't have and that piece, instead of coming back to the wholeness of ourself. And it is coming back to that wholeness of ourselves, and figuring out what it's going to take for us to truly love ourselves, to access and tap into that soul retrieval. Okay. And then those cycles, even though things might still come up, they become less over time. Ray, I have to tell you, I get more help from you sometimes than I do my therapist. Thank you so much for this today. Oh, thank you, Ray. Thank you. It's an honor sharing, as tough as it is to sometimes share my own shit here with you guys. It is an honor. All right, so I'm going to end this conscious coffee and go ahead and move forward on the rest of my day here, as I got kids that are staring at me now. But yeah, make sure that you tune in Monday to Conscious Coffee. I am off to go camping this weekend for Mother's Day weekend, off camping with some girlfriends and my daughter and stuff. And I've just got a whole bunch of stuff that is launching. Make sure that you stay up to date with all that different stuff. I'm not going to get into it this morning just to keep things. I know I kind of went a little long on here, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that will be launching out there, and different things that I can that I'm going to be sharing just to help people move through all of this and more. So keep your eye on the page, keep your eye on this, and do me a favor, if this did touch you in any way, just hit the little share button and share it to your page, tag somebody. Thank you for all the love, guys, and for the messages. You guys go have a fucking amazing day. Bye.